Lesson 12.5, Classify Quadrilaterals. 12.4 is linked in the description where we learned about parallel lines and perpendicular lines, which is important for this lesson. We can use sides and angles to help us classify quadrilaterals. All quadrilaterals are polygons with 4 sides and 4 angles. Quadrilaterals have special names if their sides are parallel, perpendicular, or have equal length. This is a square, and it's got 4 equal side lengths and 4 perpendicular angles. They make right angles. There's 4 of them. It's got 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So here's a pair that are parallel, and here's a pair that are parallel. And all the sides are the same length. A pair is 2 of something, like a pair of socks. You could have a pair of gloves. A rectangle, like these, have 2 pairs of sides of equal length. Here's one pair that's equal length, and here's another pair that's equal length. And look, a square has a pair that are equal length in this pair, because all 4 are equal, aren't they? They have 4 perpendicular angles, 4 right angles. They have one in each corner. And they have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So all squares are rectangles. But not all rectangles are squares. And if that's confusing, you can look at it like we've said before. All pugs are dogs, but not all dogs are pugs. Dogs is a very big category. Some of them are pugs and some aren't. So all squares are considered rectangles because they have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and they've got those 4 right angles, but not all rectangles are squares. A rhombus has 4 equal side lengths. These sides are equal, so this is a rhombus, and these sides are equal, so this is a rhombus. It's got 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. These are parallel, these are parallel. And in a square, these are parallel and these are parallel. So a square is a rhombus, but a rhombus might not be a square. Square needs 4 right angles, doesn't it? These are all considered to be trapezoids. They have at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Let's look. These are parallel, and it's even got another set here, doesn't it? These are parallel, these are parallel, these are parallel, these are parallel, these are parallel. So they have at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. A square is a trapezoid, but a trapezoid might not be a square. So a trapezoid is a quadrilateral that has at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Some quadrilaterals cannot be classified as, that means put into groups of, square, rectangle, rhombus, or trapezoid. So they are quadrilaterals, but they're not a square, rectangle, rhombus, or trapezoid. Take a look at this. Kind of looks like an arrow pointing, doesn't it? But it doesn't have any parallel sides. So it's not a square, rectangle, rhombus, or trapezoid. And this has no parallel sides, and this has no parallel sides. And they're all quadrilaterals. Shapes that are a square, rectangle, rhombus, or trapezoid have at least 1 pair of parallel sides. Circle all the words that describe the shape. So take a look at this one. Is this one a square? And we can even turn it to look at it if we want to. We can go like this. That's not a square, is it? Is it a rectangle? Does it have right angles inside? No, it doesn't. Is it a rhombus? A rhombus has 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. And these look parallel and these look parallel. So yes, it is a rhombus. Is this a trapezoid? A trapezoid has at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. It has at least 1. So yes, it is a trapezoid too. Is it a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 sides and 4 angles? I see 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so yes, it is also a quadrilateral. Now what about this one? Is this one a square? No. It is a rectangle though, isn't it? Is it a rhombus? Does it have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel? Does it have four sides of equal length? No, then it's not a rhombus. Is it a trapezoid? Does it have one pair of opposite sides that are parallel? It can be considered a trapezoid. Is it a quadrilateral? Does it have four sides and four angles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's got four sides and it's got four angles. It's a quadrilateral. What about this one? That's not a square, is it? Is it a rectangle? Does it have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and four perpendicular angles? No, it doesn't have four perpendicular angles. Can it be considered a rhombus? Does it have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel? Well, these are parallel, but these aren't. So no, it's not a rhombus. Is it a trapezoid? Does it have at least one pair of opposite sides that are parallel? Yes, it does. So it is a trapezoid. Is it a quadrilateral? Does it have four sides and four angles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's also a quadrilateral. Now let's try doing these. We're going to circle all the words that describe the shape. So that's not a square, and it's not a rectangle, and it's not a rhombus, and it's not a trapezoid. It doesn't have parallel sides. It doesn't have any right angles, but it is a quadrilateral. Look, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and 4 angles. So it is a quadrilateral. You know what this is, don't you? That is a square. It's got 4 sides of equal length and 4 right angles. Is it a rectangle? Does it have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and 4 perpendicular angles, 4 right angles? Yes, it does. It can be considered a rectangle. Is it a rhombus? Does it have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel and 4 equal side lengths? Yes, it does. So it's also considered a rhombus. Is it a trapezoid? Does it have at least 1 pair of opposite sides? Yes, it does have at least 1 pair of opposite sides. So it's also considered a trapezoid. And is it a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 sides and 4 angles? Yes, it does. It's all of these. Aren't squares fascinating? Now look at this shape. Is this shape a square? No, it doesn't have 4 equal side lengths. And it doesn't have 4 right angles. Is it a rectangle? No, it doesn't have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, and it doesn't have 4 right angles. Is it a rhombus? Well, to be a rhombus, it needs 4 equal side lengths, and it doesn't have that. And it doesn't have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, so it's not a rhombus. Is it a trapezoid? Does it have at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel? Yes, the top and the bottom. So it could be considered a trapezoid. Is it a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 sides and 4 angles? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. So yes, it is a quadrilateral. So a square needs to have 4 equal side lengths and 4 right angles, and this does. A rectangle needs to have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, and it does. and it needs 4 right angles. It has that. A rhombus needs 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. It has that, and it's got 4 equal side lengths. And a trapezoid needs to have at least 1 pair of sides that are parallel, and it has that. And a quadrilateral has to have 4 sides and 4 angles, and a square has that. So a square is all of these things. Now take a look at these shapes. We have A, B, C, D, E, and F. Which of these quadrilaterals appear to have 4 right angles? It says appear to have 4 right angles because we don't know for sure. They just look like they have 4 right angles. We don't see the little right angle boxes inside, do we? So which of these look like they have 4 right angles? Well, this one does, A. B looks like it does. These are not right angles. This one looks like it has 1, 2 of them, but we need 4. This one doesn't have any, and this one doesn't have any. So we have A and B appear to have 4 right angles. Which quadrilaterals appear to have 2 right angles? This has 4, this has 4, this has 0. This looks like it's got 2 right angles, so it would be D. And which quadrilaterals have no right angles? That's got right angles, that's got right angles. That one doesn't. That one's got 2, so we know C is one of them. This one doesn't have any right angles, and this one doesn't have any right angles. So we have E and F. If F had a right angle right here, this would be going straight up instead of a little bit on a slant, wouldn't it? Here we need to circle the words all or some to complete the sentences. The opposite sides of all or some squares are parallel. If you said all, you're right. The opposite sides of all squares are parallel. All or some polygons are quadrilaterals. Well, we learned in lesson 12.3 that polygons are any closed shape made up of line segments. And there's many types of polygons. There's triangles and pentagons and hexagons and octagons. So this is some polygons are quadrilaterals. Is it all or some squares are rectangles? To be a rectangle, it needs 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, and it needs 4 right angles. But are all squares rectangles? Yes, all squares are rectangles because they all have 4 right angles and 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. Are all or some sides of a rhombus are the same length? If you said all, you're right. All sides of a rhombus are the same length. Are all or some rhombuses are squares? Well, to be a rhombus, it needs 4 equal side lengths and 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So some rhombuses are squares, but not all of them, because a rhombus could be different than a square, couldn't it? A rhombus could look like this, couldn't it? That's not a square. Quadrilaterals are polygons with 4 sides and 4 angles. So which of these shapes are not a quadrilateral, and why? Is this a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 sides and 4 angles? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got 4 angles. So that one is a quadrilateral. It wants to know which ones are not. What about B? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. 5 sides is not a quadrilateral. It needs 4. So there's one that's not a quadrilateral. What about C? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. So that is a quadrilateral. What about D? Is that a quadrilateral? It's got 1, 2, 3 sides and 1, 2, 3 angles. That's not a quadrilateral. It doesn't have enough sides or angles, does it? Here we have a short little riddle. I am a polygon with 4 sides, and I have 2 pairs of parallel sides and no right angles. Circle all the shapes that I could be. Well, it has 4 sides, so it must be a quadrilateral. But it says it has no right angles, so it can't be a square or a rectangle. Could it be a rhombus? It's got 2 pairs of parallel sides. If you said yes, you're right. It could be a rhombus. Could it be a trapezoid? Trapezoid has at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. This says it's got 2 pairs. It could be a trapezoid. It could look like this. That's a trapezoid. So remember, these are all trapezoids because they have at least 1 pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Our riddle says it's a polygon with 4 sides and 2 pairs of parallel sides and no right angles. So that shape would fit. Here we have another riddle. I am a quadrilateral with at least 1 of my angles is less than a right angle. Circle all the shapes that I could be. Could it be a square, a rectangle, a rhombus, or a trapezoid? If we're not sure, we can compare them to squares, rectangles, rhombuses, and trapezoids. It says one of my angles is less than a right angle, so it can't be a square because a square has 4 right angles. So it's not square, and a rectangle has 4 right angles, so it's not a rectangle. Could it be a rhombus? Yes, it could. If the rhombus looks like this, then at least one of its angles is less than a right angle. Could it be a trapezoid? These are all trapezoids. And are there some that have an angle that's less than a right angle? Yes, this one right here, this one right here. So yes, it could be a trapezoid. When we compare, we look for ways that things are alike. When we contrast, we look for ways that things are different. Now look at all these shapes here. We've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. And we need to fill in the blanks with the correct letter of the alphabet. It says shapes. All of these are polygons. So which of these are polygons? Do you remember the definition of a polygon? It's a closed shape that's made of line segments, and line segments are straight, aren't they? So B is not a polygon because it's got a curved line here. So we know A is and C is. D looks like a polygon. It's closed and has line segments. E is a circle. It's got curves, so it's not E. What about F? Do we see line segments that make up its sides? And it's a closed shape? No curves? Yes, F and even G and H match. And I has 4 line segments for its sides, and it is a closed shape. So we can't have curves in polygons, can we? It says shapes blank and blank are not polygons. Well, we just found them, didn't we? We found that because B and E have curves, they're not polygons. So that's B and E. Shapes blank, 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 and blank are quadrilaterals. Well, the definition of a quadrilateral is it has 4 sides and 4 angles. So it's not A, that's got 3 sides, it's a triangle. That doesn't have 4 sides. This C has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's not that one. D has 1, 2, 3, 4. So D is a quadrilateral. E is a circle. It doesn't have 4 sides. F has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So it's not F. Look, G has 1, 2, 3, 4, and H has 1, 2, 3, 4, and I has 1, 2, 3, 4. So G, H, and I are quadrilaterals also. It says shapes blank and blank can be called rhombuses. Which of these can be called rhombuses? Remember, a rhombus has 4 equal side lengths and 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. Which ones have 4 equal side lengths? If you said H and I, you're right. So remember, a quadrilateral has 4 sides and 4 angles. And we're going to talk about drawing quadrilaterals in our next lesson, 12.5. And I hope I'll see you there. And I hope you have a really great day. Bye.